How are you doing? Welcome to live stream number 146. All right, I think things is good. Changed a few things here in the setting today. Hopefully it's a little bit better. As always, really would appreciate your kind of feedback on that. 146. Today we're going to talk about part 2 of what is new in Fusion 360 on the release that was dropped 2 days ago. A couple of things that I want to point out, and that is important. I just saw Rob posted one question, and that was, what if Fusion don't update by itself? And I've heard about that happen before. You know what I do? I go and I search Fusion 360, and I go, make sure you don't go to the student version. Just make sure you go to the regular Autodesk.com products Fusion overview. And then I just go in and say I download another trial. It makes you sign in, and that's how I get it. Like I had to do that with my actually on my MacBook version. I did it that way. So yeah, just want to make sure. That was a very good question. If you haven't seen the update, now I also know that just like I think with other kind of software that maybe don't all get pushed out at the same time, but yeah, if you go to download, then you will get the latest version. It will just tell you that you you're all set. So back into talking about what's new inside of Fusion 360, kind of chatting about, continuing on what we had yesterday. So yesterday we talked we brought up 3 things, and just in case you didn't watch yesterday, what I'm trying to do this time around is I'm actually trying to maybe go a little bit deeper than I normally have done in these what's new, because if you watch the one that Aaron, Marty, and Bryce are doing on YouTube, they kind of like gotta run through it quickly, like 10-12 minutes. And then in the past, what I have done here on the channel is somewhat the same. I just kind of like picked my favorites and said, ta-da! And I thought, you know what? Now we are doing live streams every day. Why don't we just take one step back and do it, a little bit more into detail. So that's what we're trying to do. So yesterday we talked about the new hole feature. So if you missed that one, we now got the threading options in it. We talked about a new surface in the patch environment, and then we talked about the mirror function now inside of the sheet metal. Today I want to point out a couple of things, because actually what happened yesterday doing the live stream was that a couple of things happened. To my account, what is just awesome. You will now see, if you are an Ultimate user, and by the way, everybody who has the hobbyist startup license, you're an Ultimate user. If you are on a Windows machine, you will now see that you have a generate button up here. This is something really, really amazing, awesome, that is new. Now, if you are on a Mac, you're gonna have to wait, I think, a few months till they get it in the Mac version. And actually, this is kind of like, it's not a preview, but what this one will do is it will let you design differently. And I want to do a live stream dedicated. We're probably going to do more than one on this function, because it's really cool. But I knew that I couldn't just avoid it today. If you click on it now, Ultimate User on a Windows machine, you will open up a program called Autodesk Generative Design. It's a standalone program you can download. Now, I think over the summer, I'm not 100% sure, over the summer, this will be incorporated right inside of Fusion, and that's when Mac users and everybody will get this function. But what this is differently than normal modeling is, what you do inside of this generative design environment is that you, instead of when you're modeling things up right now, you have to know where you want to end up, right? If you're gonna model up a part, you need to know where you want to end up and then model it up. What we do here is we are specifying the boundaries of the part and what the part will encounter in regards to specific load cases and things like that. And then the software, now it's going to use the cloud for the compute power of this. And I should also say that to compute this, we'll use cloud credits like you can do with rendering and simulation. But what it will do, I'm going to switch over to something called Explore. What it will do is, depending on the boundary and depending on the loads, it will actually start thinking about what an optimal part would look like depending on what kind of material that you have specified. So if I click on this specific first part here, it's going to load up a preview of it. This is a part where I specified I took this right out of the tutorial, a cobalt chrome material, and the part will come up and look something like this here. Like I said, I'm going to do a specific tutorial on this. I just want to make sure people are going to look at that generate button and say, what the heck. So this part here versus maybe this part that looks a little bit different. So a generative different looking part versus I think that I specified this one here as like a aluminum 6061. So here we can see how beefy that needs to be in the same load piece. So I will talk about this later, and there's a lot of great things. You can go in here, you can kind of like you can go in here and view the different models depending on the different materials. I also had one, I think that was done on a Inconel. So here's the displacement of the part versus the mass. Really what this is, and I guess I should maybe have done a better job up front. Really what it is a way to design a part where you say, this is kind of like the volume that the part's going to fit within. This is where we're going to put the loads on the part, and then the software will figure out the least amount of material, for example, that you need to make that part. This is really great when we start talking about like additive machining, like additive, so 3D printing in metal or whatever. So that's what that is. So I just want to make sure that if you open up Fusion and you're wondering what the heck that function is, that is this generative design, brand spanking new, really cool. And something that we're gonna dig into deeper. I need to do a little bit more homework on it myself before I start talking, all in depth about it. Okay, back to that was maybe way too long, but back to what's new in this release besides that button and this. And if you have Ultimate, go ahead and there's a tutorial in there, like I just did, and you can do all the calculations. Now, another thing that is new, that is worth bringing up, is that if you go to the upload button, you go and select files. A couple of new things have been added in here for things that you can open up inside of Fusion. So a few things have been updated. For example, Inventor files are now up to 2019. SOLIDWORKS files up to SOLIDWORKS 2018 in here. Also Solidets files are in here. I'm not 100% sure if they were actually in here previous, but this is all the different file formats you can open up in, you can bring into to Fusion. So if you are from, coming from another format, this is all the things we can bring in. And now just a quick thing I wanted to also bring up. I know I've gotten a couple of emails in regards to DXF files. There's some people was complaining that they had some issues bringing them in. I know there was some kind of a bug that supposedly has also been taken care of in this release, so please test that again if you had that issue. All right. The next thing I want to jump into is drawings. So 2D drawings got a couple of neat things that is definitely worth mentioning. This was a live stream we did a while back. This is actually on a part that I did also a CAM. There's a CAM tutorial on how to model up this part, mixing 2D and 3D CAM. So new in this release is the measuring tool have gotten some new functions in the right click. So if you go in and click a new dimension in a 2D print, you can still place your dimensions just like you've been able to do before, but you can actually lock down what it's looking for. If you right click, I have the dimension tool selected. If I right click, you will now see you can specify what you actually want to look for. So the reason was, and this maybe is not the best example, but if you had a really complicated drawing, sometimes when you went in, it could be kind of, the software would kind of like, see, here's trying to select an arc, and then it clicks over and becomes an endpoint. So what the development team was, instead of you had to sit here and trying to, I want the radius, I can't select, oh, there we go. You can just now right click and you can just select what you're after. So if you're looking for the center, you can just go in and select that, and you got that center, and then you can right click again, and you could say, for example, I want an endpoint, and select. So you don't have to go around and select, trying to get the cursor to do what you want. Another thing they added is that you can also, again, right click, and now you can actually also select if that dimension should be horizontal. So just I think a really nice feature to not per se, a revolution, but this is one of those things that when you're trying to detail drawings, 2D drawings for manufacturing, that drives you nuts. When if you're sitting in here and you're trying to catch a point or the center here, and you're messing around with it, and you can't get it. So I definitely think that is kind of cool. Another thing that they have added is that you can insert now images. Now we did do the live stream on how to do your title blocks, and you can insert an image in the title block. So if you're looking, if you can see, if I hover over here and I double click, you get a title block editor, and you could bring in an image there. But now you can actually also insert an image. So in this case here is the live stream we did on the rendering, where we actually used kind of this part here, place it down here, and then you can scale it, you can move it, whatever you want. I know I'm covering over some things, but you get the point. So now you can actually bring in an image. What can just help, maybe you wouldn't bring in a rendered image like this, but it could be, if you're an assembly part or something like that. So that's definitely also one of these other things that I just think is a good little enhancement there. Another thing that they have done is if you insert a table, you get a auto balloon. So I thought that instead of going in, let me just hide this data panel, we don't need that right now. Instead of going in and reusing this drawing, I thought I would bring up this live stream, what hopefully some people remember. We did this part here, and some people right now is like, okay, how do you create these 2D drawings? So I thought we could do this. And there's kind of two ways you're creating 2D drawings. If you go into model, drawing, from design, you either select the full assembly, the check mark, or you can select what components you want. So I'm just going to select the full assembly here. And then I will do a single drawing just in a second. So I'm just going to take the full assembly. I'm going to hit OK. And the 2D drawing is opening up here. So here I could go in and change the view, and I'm not sure exactly what view I need. You know, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to place a view like that, hit OK, and then I think I'm going to go in and do a projected view of it. Yeah, see, this is the view I want. That was the look I wanted. It's just another way to get the view you want. Hit enter, that's actually the one. I'm going to delete this one now. Select this one, hit delete. So you can delete the views off here. Let's take this view, let's double click on it. We get this view palette back here. We can now make it a little bit bigger. We can scale it up. I actually also want it shaded. Hit OK, yeah, that's what I want there. We can move it. Select move, select this drawing, and I'm gonna move from this down to about here maybe. Okay, so this is how you if you have assemblies like this piece of furniture, then many times you will create a drawing that is like the front page, like this one here, and then you can create additional sheets down here by clicking the little plus sign, and then you could break the assembly down. But what you many times do in the first page is you're kind of like creating a view like this, and then the new function is that if I go in and say I want to insert a table, and I can place this table here and it snaps into the corners. What is new now is that it automatically inserts the different components or balloons to the different components over here, and they go along. So item number 1 is the cabinet. Item number 2 is the door and you can click on these and you can actually move them around. So if I select here, I can actually move this arrow to the center of this, and I can take this one, maybe I want to move that over there. So you can kind of like rearrange these. Number 2 is the door, 3 is the drawer. So you can see kind of like how it shows that. And actually it shows the item number 3 is also the handle. That's the way we modeled it up. And then the tabletop is number 4. So I probably would maybe take that one and move that over there. Drag that over to there. Oops. Drag that over there. Right? So you're going to rearrange these how you want. But so that's the new enhancement here. When you insert a table, it automatically balloons it. You can go in, of course, the materials over here are wrong. They were done in, I did these all in steel. So I'm getting a little bit away from what's new, but I hope you forgive me. When you model anything up inside of Fusion, it is all considered steel. Then I change the appearances of it here. You can change this. So if we go in here, for example, and say the tabletop, we can right click on it and you can go in and say appearances, right? That was where we applied the appearances. So originally we applied this as an oak finish. Now, if we go back and look at the drawing we're creating, the tabletop is steel. That is because it's reading not from the appearance we are putting in here. It's actually reading, if I right click on the tabletop here, it is reading from the physical material. So I can go in here and you can see that that is set to steel. So I could actually go in here, select wood, and what did I say it was? Oak. And we can find the oak, whatever oak it is, drag it up on top there. It's actually going to show the whole thing. On the side, delete that one. Close. Now we save that. We gotta save it. We're gonna say changed material. Okay. And then when we go to the drawing, you'll see it's still steel, but we get an update up here that there was a change done, and it also appears down here in the corner, that there was a change done over here. And you can see I got a little bit of a stream orange health. I hope this is not terrible. I'm going to continue. I'm not in red. So I'm going to click here on this update, and it's going to update. Oh, and it changed all of them. Sorry, I would have to go in. Yeah, that was my mistake. You know what I did wrong? When I went into tabletop and I went into physical material, I drew over this one. What I should have done was, let me just, if I delete this one, now it's back to steel. Can I get rid of one of these? All right. What I should have done was, instead of dragging it up on top here, I should just have dragged it on the top plate. That's where it should have been. So the rest of it, so actually what I should have done, the rest of it was what? Mahogany maybe? Let's say the rest of it was mahogany. If I drag this up here, and now I can, there we go. I think it's good. Lars makes a mistake. Update. Now we go. So now they're all in mahogany except that tabletop there. So that's how you will change that. Okay, I hope this was good here. Just gotta look here. I can see that my YouTube is telling me that we have a little bit of stream health. So I hope that we are coming through good. All right. The next thing I wanted to show you was also drawing. So I pulled up this sprocket. Remember, we did a live stream on this one. So the other option, you make a drawing. So one was here, we created this one here is like the first page. Then we could click down in the lower right and add another sheet where we could kind of like break it down. The other way, of course, to do this kind of stuff is in single part mode. Kind of the same thing. Go ahead and say from drawing, hit OK. And then we get this one in here. Let's go maybe to the right view. Ooh, there might be some, looks like there's a little bit of alignment I gotta do on this one. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead here and place this here. I can't remember how I modeled this one up. It looks like it's a little, I must have turned something. We had talked about that in live stream. What I wanted to show you we can do now is, because I want to still try to keep this short. So, center mark, that's not new. You can place a center mark into a hole. But what you can do now is that if you select that center mark, you actually get some arrows showing up here. And if you hold down Shift, you can drag those specific ones out. You should be able to drag them out. I love when I can't get it to do it. How is anybody else? This might be because I'm screen capturing, but I'm... No. There we go. Oh. I thought that I hold Shift down. Alright, I maybe have to read the help menu again. I thought there was something shifted. Hold down Shift and there was a trick. But yeah, you can drag it out like this with the arrows. I thought there was a Shift thing. Maybe if I create another one over here. So now we got a center mark in that one. Let's click that one. Maybe Shift. Oh, alright. You can drag the handles out. I thought there was something else. Alright, I'm gonna have to go. I can't remember that right now. There was something with Shift, I thought. So you can drag that out. The other thing, the last thing for drawings, is that they changed the way you can do section views. So section views is of course a necessary thing. So you select what view you want to do the section view at. You select kind of like the direction of that with like this here. Actually, let me just do that again. So section view of this view here. So what is new, line that with the center here, is that in the past, to place the next one here, if you had to go to kind of like a view, and this one is a little skewed, but you can now snap into items. You don't just have to place it kind of like on the go. It's actually snap in, so you do get a more accurate section view of the part. It looks like the whole part is skewed. That's probably why, huh? I should have tested that out before I decided to use this part. This might be one we moved around with a move tool or something like that, the sprocket. But the section view has now been better like that. The last thing that I want to show you on this live stream, and that's gonna go good until tomorrow's, because tomorrow is Friday, and we like to try to do CAM on Fridays. So tomorrow we're gonna do all the what's new in CAM. One thing that many people, I know a lot of people have asked for, is finally, if you go in and create text, I'm just gonna create something on this side here. If you go in and place text, type in whatever, and you go upside down like that. If you go in, there is now stick font. So the CAM team had actually done, I think, a pretty good job overcoming this with the engraving tools inside of Fusion. But stick font means if I say this simple X, it's actually hard to see. But that's because that's what it is. Just like if I zoom in here and I hover over it, it's literally like just what we call stick font. Back in the day, when I used to use Mastercam, that was the only thing that we absolutely could engrave. Anything else like normal font would have been impossible. But the Fusion team, the CAM developers, actually did make an engraving command that worked with pretty much any Windows font. However, this stick font, my old manufacturing heart, stick font is still like still the main thing. And I know we're gonna do CAM tomorrow, but let me just make sure that I say this, that if you have to machine that stick font, that inside of CAM, I'll just create a quick setup here. Boom, like that. No stock. That you want to use the trace function for that. So if I go in here, trace, and we gotta select some kind of a tool. I'm not sure. Now I got off. We can't see any sketches in this thing, can we? Probably because Lars turned them off. There we go. I have a tendency to turn sketches off. Okay. So now if we select it in the trace function, like that, you can set the depth here, whatever. But that is that's how you want to cut that that stick font is with the trace function like that. Okay, that was all that that I had planned for this live stream. A couple of things. Notice I turned the lights off. The two headlights are off. The picture over there, that's gone. There's gonna come something else up there soon, hopefully. Super cool. I played a little bit around with the lighting. I hope this is better. Again, keep giving me feedback, please. I have new setup, new gear, new software. We're now shooting in 1080p. If this is choppy for you or blurry, click the little gear icon. Make sure you are displaying at the highest resolution. Thank you for all you guys who recommended and have helped me so far. We're gonna continue making it better. Tomorrow is CAM. We're gonna talk about all the great new functions inside of CAM in this update, and then next week, I hope next week we can hit back on that generative design and get more into depth with that, because that is absolutely cool. All right, that was it. Do me a favor. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. It means the world to me. I know I keep asking it, but if this is good, thumbs up. If it's bad, be honest. Give me the thumbs down. That's fine. I'd rather want that than anybody just sipping them out. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit the bell next to it, and you will get a notification when we go live here. So I hope you have a good Thursday planned, and I hope I see you tomorrow if you're in Cam. That's it. Take care, everybody. I hope you have an awesome, awesome day. Thank you.